Radio Retrofuture. Good day, ladies and gentlemen, this is Bonsert and welcome to Radio Retrofuture. And today, as my guest, I have Matt Grayson, known from the Steampunk Journal and his new project, the Steampunk Hellfire Club. But before we go on, I would like to attend you to the fact that if you enjoy our content, please subscribe to this channel, and if you enjoy these videos, please give them a like. This will not only help this channel, but also any other steampunk related channels on YouTube, because when you like things that are connected to steampunk on YouTube, YouTube will actually notify you when other channels like this exist. So, for the sake of everyone, every steampunk channel on YouTube, like John Vesmeyer Show, the Steampunk Wild West Show, Clockwork Fisticuff Society, and of course Tales of a Broken Reality by Brian Oliver. Back to you, Matt. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, thank you.
I know you do the Steampunk Journal. The new project is the Hellfire Club. We'll talk about it in a bit. What else do you do?
Oh, I do plenty of others. Apart from my day job, I also run my own photography business, which I've run for over 20 years now. And that's part of basically what the Hellfire Club is, trying to integrate my love of photography with my passion of steampunk.
Alright, so we're gonna talk about the Steampunk Journal later on in the video. Probably gonna cut this into two to make it two separate subjects. But let's start with the Hellfire Club. What is it and when will you begin?
Yeah, sure. Well, the Hellfire Club is a subscription-based website which has it's going to have large galleries of photographs up to artistic nude level, all in a steampunk style. So there's going to be lots of photographs for people to see. They can subscribe to the site for. At the moment, I'm working on around £12 a month, and they'll be able to just log in and have a look at all the pictures. The pictures will be updated regularly, preferably once a week, maybe once a fortnight, depending on how work goes. And the difference with this, it's all going to be UK based, which there's currently another site that everybody probably knows about, which is US based, and it only really has it features female models. This one's going to have all genders. You can even be real steampunks if you want to be. It's not just going to be the top models that we pay for to get people onto the site. I'll be welcoming anybody who wants to come on to have a go. And the idea then is I want it to be empowering to people. I don't want it to be just this kind of sleazy website that people go onto. I want it to be, it's a bit like burlesque really. I want it to be like burlesque where people feel proud of the fact that they've gone on there and they've done it, you know. And yeah, that's basically what I'm looking out for. And I think because I've got such a massive amount of experience in photography, and obviously I've been running the journal now for just over 3 years. I don't, it makes sense to kind of combine those two and provide a service for people that they can go and enjoy art, which is essentially what it's going to be. There's not going to be nothing dirty about it. There's going to be, it's just going to be up to artistic nude. I don't really like the kind of going any further than that. So, and obviously as well, if someone comes on and they say, I want to do this shoot, but I don't want to be nude, then that's fine. That's what we'll do. It'll all be up to what the person who's modelling, what they want to do, what levels they want to go to. The interesting thing is though that everybody's going to get paid for it. There's a lot of things around art and steampunk as well, where people they're getting approached by companies who say, oh, we want you to do this, but we haven't really got a budget for it, but it's going to be great exposure for you. That's not what I want to do. I'm a fair person. I champion small businesses and people trying to be independent artists. And so everybody who's involved in a shoot is going to get paid for their time. And I'm looking for a budget on each shoot of around £650 to be split between whoever's involved. And I've worked that out based on the model's average pay for 4 hours shoot, photographers. Well, actually, I've based myself into photographers. I've not included that in the costing. The makeup artist, though, the studio hire, clothing, props, and obviously getting the pictures retouched afterwards, because I can do some basic retouching myself, but there's some people who are so much better than me, and if we can pay to have that kind of fantastical imagery afterwards, that'd be even better. So I've included that, and then so I want to get about 20 shoots up and running for the site to go live, and the only way I can do that is if I'm going to spend £650 on, that's around £13,000 for 20 shoots. So I'm going to be setting up a crowdfunder on Indiegogo, probably from about the beginning of December, get that running. I've yet to decide whether I want it running over 30 days or 60 days. Obviously, we're nearing Christmas now, so asking somebody to then start paying straight after Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. It's not going to work.
Before might be difficult. So I might look at a 60-day plan, so that then it's at the end of January when it's and people are a little bit more relieved about having got some pay in their bank accounts. And yeah, it's going to be really good fun. Everybody's going to have, like I say, everybody's going to get paid for their time. Nobody's going to be left short. Apart from me originally. And the reason I want to get 20 shoots up and running is because I can't set a site up that's a gallery of images and have no images to show people.
Right.
Nobody's going to come onto the site and say, I'll pay you £12 a month, but there's no pictures to look at. So I want to get those 20 shoots up and ready, so that I can load them onto at least 10 onto the site, so then I've got another 10 as a buffer. For if anything goes wrong, or if things are delayed for whatever reason.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, and then, have you already got like a list of models that have responded to your request?
Indeed, yes. I've got about 12 models so far, all female at the moment, but I am looking for male models. I've approached several, but for some reason the top modelling sites at the moment, Model Mayhem, Pure Storm, the ones in the UK and America, that have a lot of UK members on them, they seem to be very, very quiet at the moment. I've put casting calls in, and I've had very few replies. But through approaching people, through people that I know who know other people, I've managed to get about a dozen or so that have actually confirmed that they'd be interested in the shoot. I've got a makeup artist living near me who's really enthusiastic and eager to do it. She's a fantastic makeup artist, and she's ready to go. And also, there's another photographer in London who said he's more than willing to help me as well, and he's a brilliant steampunk photographer. And I've also had a couple of other photographers who said that they'd be willing to share in the workload in order to really just get their name known. Even though I've said, look, I'll pay you for your time, who said, no, don't worry about it at first, but I'd want to give them some money anyway. I think it's only fair.
Yeah, exactly.
That you share out the money. And it wouldn't really be fair that I'd say, I'll take £12 a month off people, and then not actually give any money out to anybody who's benefiting the site for that money to come in the first place.
Mm-hmm. And how has the response been of the audience basically? How did they respond to the fact you're going to do nude shoots?
95% positive. There's been a couple. The first person who responded was like, wow, the Hellfire Club, tell me more about it. So I said, okay, well, it's going to be a number of artistic nude galleries. They were like, not really interested in the nude stuff. I was like, well, it's not to everybody's taste, that's fair. Somebody called it steampunk porn. I was like, no, let's just shut that down immediately. It's not steampunk porn. There's going to be nothing pornographic about it. It's not even going to be going up to the same levels as what the other American-based site does. So I'd like to add more of the British quirkiness into the shoots and the eccentricities that make British people British, really. But that's not just to say that I'd only have British people. That's how I want to get it first up, and then start spreading it out as the site grows and popularity grows. We'll start spreading it out to the UK and start really bringing some money into the economies that are getting those shoots going.
Okay, but you already brought up the American site. It's Steamgirl for the people who don't know.
Yes. I didn't know that I was allowed to say that.
Yes, you are. I mean, the entire idea of this program is to have discussions going. So I suggest we'll have that discussion. So, what is your opinion on sites like Steamgirl, just in a general sense?
Oh, okay. Well, I've got absolutely no problem with Steamgirl. I've been a member of it for the last month, so I could get to have a look and see the kind of stuff that they do, and get an idea of how either I'd want my own site to develop, or have a look at what they do that I disagree with, so that I don't take those same paths. And the quality of the photography is spot on. You can't really fault either the pictures, the creativity behind each shoot. Even if it's in its just simplest form, in one shoot they just went out into the forest and built a fire and just did a shoot around that. It's a really simple idea, but it was really effective. And you cannot fault whatsoever Kato's motivation and ambition to get to where she is. I mean, she's been doing it for about 10 years now, I think. And
long time, yeah.
Yeah, she doesn't look as though she's even aged a day in that time. It's crazy. But she's been doing that for about 10 years, and she's got to be this steampunk icon, which I've no real ambitions to be that kind of person. But she's worked hard, and that's what I have 2 children, and that's what I want to show them, that working hard pays its dividends.
No, exactly. Yeah.
I don't want them to see just. That if they see someone who I don't like these reality TV stars who do nothing and then just get paid thousands of pounds for just being on TV. I don't want them to see that. I want them to see that working hard gets the rewards.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm looking to do. And Kato's a great inspiration for people who are in the same position as me. They've got the ambition to do something, and they think, well, what can I do? And they see something, and then they can look to somebody like Kato, who works damn hard at what she does. And she has all these ideas going on her head, and she makes them happen into real life. And I find that really really inspiring to look at.
Okay, fair enough. Let's see, where shall we go from there? Well, do you have an opinion on actual steampunk pornography? Because people keep bringing it up right now surrounding this project. So, do you have an opinion on that?
As a photographer and as a steampunk who believes in all inclusivity and everything, I'm quite broad-minded. In that I have absolutely no problem with anybody who wants to do something. I may not necessarily do it myself, but if they want to do it, I'm totally fine with that. I don't have a problem with any kind of pornography, as long as people are willing participants in it. That's basically where it ends. I wouldn't do it myself. I wouldn't do that kind of photography. I don't even like glamour photography. Anything that's got a bit of creativity and artistic themes in it, then I'm more that way involved than just the show everything because you need to show everything. I'm not really interested in that kind of thing.
No. Okay. What is your experience? This is a new project of yours. Have you done something similar in the past? What kind of photography are you used to doing?
Oh, I'm with you. Well, yeah. The reason I have my own photography website, as I told you, my own photography business, which is called Photo Fairground. I chose that name because both begin with an F. Well, they don't actually begin with an F, but they sound as though they start with an F. And also because a fairground, you go into a fairground and there's lots of different things to see, lots of different things you can try. And I wanted my website to be a photography business where I'll do anything in terms of photography. So I'll take portraits, weddings, corporate images, headshots for upcoming actors, still life, landscapes, calendars. I'll do the lot, and that was the idea of it. In answer to your question, yes, I have. But I've never tried to launch a website like this before. This is a completely new thing. I said on one of the areas that I wrote on, it's been my dream for 3 years without me really realising it was my dream. It struck me about 6 months ago that this could be something that I could really do, incorporating my photography. And the main idea behind the artistic nude levels is because of what I said before, how I don't really like the other side of the nudity sort of thing, and secondly, I can't really with social media of what it is, people share all their photographs. It's not something that I could then say, right, well, I want you to pay to look at these pictures of people who you can just see anywhere for free.
Exactly, you're right.
Right. So I have to offer that little bit more.
So what's your strategy? You said you're going to start with about 20 shoots. It's going to be a subscription service. Was there also is, because this is we're filming this right now in November, and this is going to be published somewhere in December probably. So to formulate my question, is there going to be a crowdfunding aspect to this to get things started? Was that your intention, or did I completely misunderstand that part of the of your campaign?
No, you're exactly right. Yes, I'm going to be starting a crowdfunding from the beginning of December. It's going to be on Indiegogo. There's already a promotional video up on YouTube, which they don't allow me to upload videos directly onto the site. I have to upload them onto YouTube and then link to them. So that's already up there. Some of the stuff that I've said on there is pretty much what I've said on here, but there's a couple of examples, and there's some nice music by New Jacobin Club on it as well. It's on my channel, which is Matthew Demaris. Matthew is in the name, Demaris. And you can go on there and take a look at that video, and it gives you an idea of the kind of things that I'm going to be looking at and what I'm looking to achieve.
Right.
And then on the website as well. But yeah, it's going to be a crowdfunder to try and get the funds in place. The way I've set it is that it's going to be set up so that in two ways. First of all, if it doesn't quite achieve its goal, the funds will still come to me, and I'll be able to get as much as I can done with those funds. If it goes over the target of £13,000, I'm going to be adding more to the perks. The perks start from, you can pay £10 and get a month's access, which would normally cost £12, all the way up to large businesses which may be interested, who can pay £1,000 and they'll get 12 months access, they'll get advertising, they'll get full creative control over one of the shoots, they'll get to use their props on the shoots, they'll get to do, and they'll have all links to all the websites and all advertising on Steampunk Journal and all sorts. So it goes all from the very, very low up to there's something for everybody, with all kinds of financial backing that they want to give. If they don't want to give backing, that's perfectly fine. I'm really open to getting, at the moment especially, I want to get people interested in the project. So if anyone can just go and share a post, or share or like a post, and that, because that increases the organic views on Facebook, and Facebook is slowly locking things down in terms of organic views because they want people to pay for advertising.
Right.
But I've tried paid advertising on Facebook before, and it's not really worked for me, so I'm reluctant to do that right now.
Yeah, I've been considering it to promote my channel, use Patreon money for those kinds of things, but it's. Minds.com has a similar system, except they give you points for providing content to their site and visiting their site and look at other people's content. So they give that same service for free, basically. But I don't really know if it's working or not. That's the thing. Especially, when you look at the amount of steampunk groups out there. It's much more useful, at least for me, to post my links in all steampunk groups than to just show it to random people who have no interest in these type of discussions. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. I once tried Facebook advertising for my photography website, and it said you can, if you pay this amount a month, you can, you're going to be seen by potentially 26,000 people. This advert. So I thought, well, that seems pretty good. I live in a city of 500,000 people, but 26,000 people is a lot more than the 100 people or so that it currently gets seen by. So I paid for that advertisement, and it went up to maybe about 250 people. And I was like, that's not really the 26,000 that you said.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, So I'm quite disappointed with Facebook advertising, so I don't really like to do it. So that's why I'm trying to get people to share and comment and post, because it increases the amounts of other people that see it within their feeds as they comment. You know, someone else sees it who's their friends, and it all spreads like that, doesn't it? That's how the organic things work.
Yeah.
So yeah, the more interest I can get, the more likely I've got that somebody who'll be interested in subscribing. I've had a few people who've already said that they'd be interested in subscribing, so you know, maybe there's a few people who are silent out there. At the moment, I have, if I can just mention, I have a register page, which you can go onto the Steampunk Journal website, and it should still be relatively near the front in the highlighted articles section at the top, where it kind of scrolls across.
We can put the link down here in the description.
Okay, yeah, brilliant. And on that, all you have to do is just put your email into the space at the bottom, and then I'll be sending people updates of how the project is going. You know, links to wherever they can find out more information, things like that. I've actually got a shoot booked at the end of on the 26th of November, which is going to be a test shoot essentially, but may also feature on the website. So that should be pretty good fun. And I'll be sharing some pictures of that as it goes with a beautiful model called Blue Sapphire who lives nearby, and she's got lots of vintage sorts of clothes that we're going to make into steampunk. I've been collecting some props up as well. I'm using Jacqueline Hyde. I'm getting some things from her, so we're going to be really going to town on this shoot, and I've already started investing, and yeah, I think things are going to go well with it. I'm really confident about it, and I just need to get that interest peaked from people at the moment.
Okay. Are there particular photographers within or without the steampunk community that inspired your work, or this particular shoot?
The shoot that's coming along today? No, I think with my photography, I'm very similar in the way I am as being a steampunk. I believe in individuality and everybody experiencing steampunk in their own way. So I pretty much that reflects in my photography as well. I take pictures in my style. I mean, obviously I have inspirational photographers that I look at. My favourite photographer of all time is David LaChapelle. I'm a big fan of Adi Leibovich. You know, and I met David Bailey as well. He's interviewed him for a website I was working for at the time. He's a fantastic photographer and a wonderful person to speak to, full of amazing stories. And so, but in terms of actual photographers within the steampunk community, I love Gary Nichols' stuff, but his stuff is very fantastical. He does a lot of post editing, which makes his pictures look really, really visually stunning. And there's also the guy who's offered to help me originally, Johnny Chaos. He's a London-based photographer. His stuff is brilliant. If you ever get to have a look at his steampunk work, it's fantastic. And he said he's going to help me as well. So, but my stuff is I rely less on editing. I like to get things done in camera, and I think that just dates back to, because, like I said, I've been photographing since I was 18, which is, oh God, it's over 20 years now ago. And that was back in the days of 35mm film. You know, when you didn't have Photoshop, and you didn't have editing. You had to do everything in a dark room, and it was a very different time. Yeah. And everything, you had to get everything done right in camera at the time. You didn't have 30,000 pictures available to you to take on a memory card. You had 36 pictures that you could take, and then you had to wait 2 weeks to see if any of them were any good, and your moment was lost by that point. So I think it's very important to get things done first time every time, and that's what I've grown up with, and that's how I can still like to do things now.
Yeah, I've had Gary Nichols on the show. Also, have a very interesting interview. If you haven't watched it yet, I can highly recommend it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I actually have the Imaginarium. Actually showed it in a very short video. What it's like. I like it. I like it very much. It's expensive, but it is also a very, how the book cover is designed. It's also a very nice book to just have on your shelf. You can immediately see it because of the way it is designed. It's very well done, very well thought out.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's it. And I've been involved with it since the beginning with the journal. When he first started letting people know about this mammoth task that he was going to be conducting.
And still is doing.
Well, yeah. He's estimated it's going to take him at least another 6 years, I think he said to me.
Yeah, he's got 3 years for each book, so 6 years at least. Yeah.
Well, because he's been doing it about 3 years now, and it's going to end in this mammoth image. It's going to have that he aims to have about 4,000 steampunks in, all marching on to war, and he doesn't want to clone anybody in. He wants everybody, all those 4,000 people, to be real individual people. Mm-hmm. Which when he first told me that, absolutely blew my mind.
I remember something like him telling me that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be absolutely stunning to watch, because I think he's got the talent to pull it off as well.
Well, he already has a picture like that in the first book of the Imaginarium. I think it had like 180 or so. No, it was he spent 180 hours editing that one photo.
It's the one where they're all going to the staircase.
No. It's a street image.
Oh, the street one. Yes, that's right. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think.
Oh, yes. He had about layers, didn't he?
Yeah, exactly. I've been trying some things with Photoshop, to make thumbnails or for some things for Ragtag or whatever. And it's just you really have to get used to it. It should have been way easier than it is, in my opinion. But
if you don't understand it, it's a hellish nightmare to work with.
Yeah. Well, I like Adobe products in general, so But anyway, regarding could you, by the way, tell us a little bit about the name Hellfire Club? Do you know the background of the historical Hellfire clubs?
Some of it, yeah. I've not had a chance really to look deeply into it, which is something I aim to do. The Hellfire clubs started around the 16th, 17th century, and they sound as though they were like some deep underground, nefarious cult-like group of men who would indulge in dark satanic rituals. But it wasn't anything really like that. They'd meet in a pub and they'd have a whinge about the Parliament and what was going on in everyday Britain. But because of who they were, that was still then regarded as quite controversial, because they were quite high up in society ranks. They were lords and they were MPs, and they were basically just complaining and having a gossip about the people that they worked with and their peers. And eventually they kind of moved into caves. They'd meet in caves in secret, and it was all very, very secretive. And they also went by other names, I believe. I forget, they're quite long names. Don't ask me to recall one of them.
Alistair Crowley group, the Golden Dawn, was originally a Hellfire club, I think. Yeah. I know they actually took refuge in caves. But I think there were also Hellfire clubs that were just basically groups of college students.
Well, these days they're still in colleges and universities. There's a few that still exist. Probably the most famous one, I think, is called the Order of the Phoenix. I think because it was an original Hellfire club that died out, and then they kind of brought it back to life.
Right.
And that's why Phoenix, rising from the ashes of the previous Hellfire club, and now it's and they're in Ireland. Many of them are actually still operating in Ireland. But these kind of underground secret clubs are quite well connected with the darker side of Victorian life, which is what interested me most of all. They're mostly talked about in the kind of 17th century and the 16th century, which is obviously a couple of hundred years before the Victorian era. But when people think of the darker side of the Victorian era, one thing that springs to mind is these dark, hooded gentlemen all working by flame light in some underground cavern underneath London's streets. And I like that idea. And because this is kind of, I originally went with the title What the Butler Saw, but I decided, as well as being quite comedy, I thought it was a bit long, so I wanted something that was shorter and catchier. And then I thought, well, this name, I actually inspired, just as a digression, I was inspired by this name from the new Jacobin Club. I don't know if they're a band you've heard of from Canada. I just recently reviewed their album, Soldiers of the Mark, which is actually talking about the Hellfire clubs. And speaking to Mike, Xerxes, who's the lead singer, the Horde.
Yeah.
He basically told me all about it, and that's what got me to learn more about it. And the Hellfire Club in their stories is trying to raise the beast from the ancient beasts of old, and going up much darker. But it was originally called What the Butler Saw, and I thought that was a bit too long, and I wanted something that's snappier. And also, I think because of what the site is doing, it's photography of steampunks, which is every day, but then there's a little bit of nudity in it, which is a bit darker and underhand. It's kind of the darker side of steampunk that we might not necessarily normally want to see. So it's something that will be behind closed doors.
Will you actually do something with the Hellfire motif in the backgrounds or the style of the photos?
Oh, I'm with you. Yes. I actually I was talking to one of the models who's interested. Well, she's actually a burlesque dancer, and she said she'd be interested in maybe doing a shoot. We're good friends. And she was asking me about the Hellfire Club, and I said, actually, I'm going to really look into this, and I think it would be a really good idea to do. To look at the kind of the more extreme stuff that they got up to, because there's not a great deal actually written about them because they were so secretive. But try or even just make some stuff up. That's the good thing about steampunk, isn't it? You can just make stuff up. It's all about your imagination. So even if I can't find anything, I'll just make some stuff up and just make it all fun to see and as visually stunning as possible. But I've got a few shoots. I've got about 25 to 30 ideas for shoots, ranging from very, very simple to quite complex. All based around a kind of 19th century era theme. I'm constantly thinking of different ideas, and that is one area that I'm wanting to touch on, definitely.
Sure, it's something people will look forward to. I'm interested, at least.
The main thing is just to reiterate the amount of support that I need. Steampunks are very, very supportive of each other, and that's one thing I love about this community, is that we all support one another. We all look out for everybody, and whenever I can help people, I always do. And I like to think that's reciprocated, and in my life it usually isn't, but I've always found that within steampunk it usually is, and that's what I really like about it. If anyone can help, even just registering interest on the site for now, just so I can see how many people are really up for getting into this kind of project. Registering interest doesn't mean that you're going to actually be paying any money. It's really just to say I'd like to be updated on this project because it's interesting me. Okay. And that's all the registry landing pages. And if I ever post anything, if you could just hit like or share it or anything like that, that'd be absolutely fantastic. So then that can increase the organic views of the stuff that I'm posting and get more people interested in it around the world. Because I do want this to be a global thing. I don't just want it to be limited to people in Britain looking at it. Just like Steamgirl, people around the world look at it. It's based in America, but it's not just American people who look at it, and the same applies to this. I'd love people from all over the world to be able to say, hey, this is what British steampunks get up to. This is the type of clothing that British steampunks wear, and then we can get to spread that around, and maybe people will start to get influenced by it, and spread it all about, and that's another thing that it's all about, really.
Okay. I suggest we end this segment of the interview. Sure. People, dear viewers, please check out all the links below. Register with Matthew's site and just support this project in any way, shape that you can. And with that, we'll continue with part 2.
This but it's their standards of steampunk, isn't it? It's not necessarily somebody else's, and that's one of the issues, I think. But if you one of the positive sides of categorizing things in that way is that you don't then get one subculture taking over another. I see a lot with some people, they tend to try and bring steampunk into everything.
Do it all once more. Watch me. I'm going to show you the next 2 parts right here.